Monday Night Raw. Gonna do my live stream and review the Fallout show from class in Italy, the start of the King and Queen of the Ring. This is Jacob Cass. Hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. This will be maybe a 1 hour and 20-minute video. This video was sponsored by PlayStation. It was sponsored by Chris Mood, the Rad Brand, and other YouTubers I know of. It was sponsored by my favorite podcasters like Solomon Sound Off, Fightful Pro Wrestling, JD from New York, and Good My Work Commentary. Now we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw, a very short show. Now the show it came on early today here in America because they were in Italy. I think it was like 2.5 hours. Yeah, so we're going to go to what happened at Monday Night Raw. The Bloodline is united. Jacob Fatu serves Roman Reigns. I think there were like 4 matches on the show. I thought Monday Night Raw was kind of like the same old. Now, we'll see what the Reigns do after. The show opened up with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Reigns and Uso came out. Fatu came out. Fatu acknowledged Roman Reigns. He now standing by him. He with the OG Bloodline. That was the opener, by the way. So I guess they opened the show with that just to get out the way. All Italy acknowledges Roman Reigns. Fatu acknowledged Roman Reigns. Now there were some words they changed to Jey Uso. Fatu got to his knees and shook Reigns' hand. I don't know if I like it, but we'll see about that. We will talk about that more. Now we do got the King of the Ring tournament, the first round. Over family advances, he beat Carmelo Hayes, Penta, and Solo Sikoa. So Penta advances. There was no Brock Lesnar. Maybe he'll show up next week. But Penta is advancing to the second round. We'll see who wins the other fatal 4-way. So Ruka celebrates her championship win that she won from Becky Lynch. I don't think there was no Becky tonight. So Ruka came out celebrating, had this interview with Kathy Kelly. I'm surprised that no one else interrupted her, came out. Now what is Ruka doing at that time? Who's he going to feud with? Maybe Maxine Dupree. We'll have to wait and see. LA Knight with backstage. He addressed Adam Pearce, accuses Adam Pearce, like, how come he can't get a title shot? He's not in King of the Ring. Well, he's in the tournament, but he can't get a title shot. He said Fatu didn't get one. Yeah. Knight accuses Adam Pearce of aligning with Roman Reigns. Adam Pearce getting too close to the OTC. Now, we did get a pretty good tag team match with Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Ethan Page and Rusev. The babyface went over here. Rey and Dragon Lee got the win. Pretty good match. I'm glad to see Rey Mysterio wrestling on TV more. Danhausen helped the New York Knicks in the NBA playoffs. Don't know what that's about. Danhausen hasn't been doing that much. A very short card on Monday Night. Only 4 matches on Monday Night Raw. We got the Queen of the Ring first round. Io Sky. She advances. She defeated Roxanne Perez, Last Legend, and Julia. So she's going to advance to the second round. We'll see where she goes. And then the main event was Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. I don't know why they main evented. I thought they might end the fuck finish, or they might change it at the last minute. If Seth Rollins went over, is he going to advance in the King of the Ring? Is Braun Breaker going to advance next week? Are we going to get the 2 in the finals? What does it matter when we already saw this match tonight? Giving away the match for free when they should save it for the pay-per-view, because I do think that Seth Rollins will be winning the King of the Ring. And it may send up face Braun Breaker. Well, now that they're 1-1, because Braun won at Backlash, Seth won here. Now it's tied 1-1. So we might get we might get these two again in the final. Is Seth going to win again? The way how the match was booked and how it ended, I don't know. Braun Breaker could win. Or, I mean, we could do what we're doing with Breaker and Rollins, and then Oba and Brock. Because after Oba won the Fatal 4-Way, he did call out Brock Lesnar. So hopefully we see Brock next week. But that was Monday Night Raw, really. That was really it. That was it. Like, that was all Monday Night Raw. So, I will show y'all some of the podcasters on here.
I'm gonna see where it goes. That being said, I don't know, man. This just feels unnecessary for me. Like, having him lose twice to Roman, he's back to being his lapdog, his muscle. And then we're supposed to trust that, don't worry, long-term booking's gonna take care of it. Better. They better, man. I would love if there is a mutiny within the bloodline and Jacob Fatu overtakes the group and joins up with Solo and Tala Tonga, and they basically become the new bloodline. Anyone else just have, like, we know people have Cody Rhodes fatigue. Anyone else is getting bloodline fatigue?
I am.
I'm getting bloodline fatigue a little bit.
Alright, so that was just Allen of one of the podcasters. I'll show y'all Denise Salcedo.
Overthink less.
Alright, I'll show y'all the other podcasters. Alright, come on.
Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, Denise Salcedo, and right now I am live from Turin, Italy. I'm back in my Airbnb. I just got here from Monday Night Raw. It is 11 a.m., so I'm sorry, not 11 a.m., 11 p.m. So I'm definitely here a lot earlier than I was yesterday. After, people got to go to work. People are chants throughout the entire show because it was a PLE, but still. Today, like, I couldn't tell when they were, in the matches, when the matches were going on, I couldn't tell when we were in commercial break because they kept the action going the entire time. And, and today I did eat outside of the little booths because they had, like, very strict. And I thought, there was pros and cons to it. I'm not gonna lie. So you could, if you were in that floor section where I was at on hard cam side, you could only stand up during the entrances and the finishes. But, like, you couldn't stand up at all, which was not bad because I get it. There's, like, 6 rows or 8 rows or something. So they want the people at the back to be able to see. Awesome. I love that. And, like, the matches. So if you ever go to a show in Italy and you're sitting on the floor and you're, like, way back, and you're thinking, oh, I'm sure I'm not going to see anything. You are. Don't worry. You definitely will. So I kind of was, like, in the strict section, and then, like, everybody else in all the other seats, they were dancing and jumping. We couldn't dance and jump in our section. We weren't allowed. We weren't allowed to dance and jump there. But other than that, no, the view was fantastic. I can never argue that. That was so much fun. What else? Let me think. I'm trying to think of, like, the things I want to say about, like, the crowd and being in there. But it was fantastic. Like, I genuinely feel like last night's show and tonight's show really felt awesome. But now let's go ahead and actually get into the show. So we kicked it off with Roman Reigns. And, of course, Jacob Fatu having to acknowledge him. And so at first I was kind of feeling like, damn, I feel so bad. I can't believe Fatu has to bend the knee and he has to acknowledge Roman Reigns. And it's the same thing that happened to Jay and Jimmy, and everybody always has to acknowledge Roman Reigns, right? Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Not one person is a real threat to Roman Reigns. And so that part kind of bummed me out a little bit. But, here's the but. Jacob Fatu did look fucking cool at the end when the Usos and Roman were throwing up the one, and Fatu was in the back just like, and then he finally throws the one up. I think he threw the one up, yeah, and then he starts doing the thing, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, no, he totally looks awesome with Roman and with the Usos, but I love the tension, though, between Fatu and Jey Uso, and I think that that's going to be a bigger story, because Jey Uso is kind of sticking his nose way out there, like he's overdoing it as being part of this whole entire group. And I feel like he's kind of gotten a little bit on Jacob Fatu's nerves. And I feel like Jacob Fatu and Jay, they're going to clash. I mean, they're kind of already are, but even more so. And I'm interested in that part of the story, because I'm like, Jay, you're doing too much, bro. You're doing too much. And I love that Fatu basically told him, like, yeah, Roman Reigns beat me, but you didn't. You didn't beat me. And I thought that was really good. So, anyways, oh my God, the crowd reaction for Roman Reigns was crazy. And like my brain, when I went to the show and Penta's music hit, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch Penta. Look at what they do. They deserve a lot of flowers, by the way, because the interview for her. By the way, shout out to Kathy Kelly. She looked fun to watch. This one almost reminded me more fire from Julia. I felt that, I don't know if it's maybe because of the time that she's had in WWE, all of the shenanigans that occurred towards the end, which included Montez Ford going out there, and dude, man, seeing him fly, and everybody was so in awe with the crowd. Everybody to a Nobby arena, and there's so many trees. Those trees fucked me up, guys. Like, look at me, my eyes are watering, but I've been sneezing so much, it's so embarrassing.
Look on the Good My Work commentary.
In Piper's older years, Yvonne catered her grooming around
He's gonna talk about Monday Night Raw here.
hold the position for as long. There's a lot of
informed them that I know it's a Monday night now. Craziness happening in the NFL today. So we're here just to talk about today's Monday Night Raw. They were in Italy. I love this venue, by the way. Did you guys see, the big, I'm sure you saw it, but the big staircase in the venue there, just so cool. Just looks cool, doesn't it? It's the coolest arena staircases I've seen since the Nutter Center. Site of King of the Ring 1993, where Brett won with the big yellow staircases. Love that building. Something about it just strikes up a lot of nostalgia and memories, in my mind. And I loved the way this arena looked. It was a sellout last night and tonight. 13,000 people there. Crowd was hot for everything, so they had a lot of fun in Italy tonight. And it was going to be opening up with what we heard about last night. After the main event, after Tribal Combat, it was announced, Roman Reigns pretty much said, per the stipulation of the match, that Jacob must now show up on Raw and acknowledge Roman Reigns and basically fall in line and serve him and obey him. So we were questioning whether or not that was going to happen, but based on Jacob's body language last night after the loss, it certainly appeared as if he was falling in line, because he followed the Usos and Roman right out of the ring, right to the post-match interview with Kathy Kelly, and it seems like Roman is already setting his sights on other people. There was even a little run in there with Cody Rhodes that might be a little precursor to next year's WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. Not really sure yet where that's going to go down, but they're headed for a third match between those two for sure within the next 12 months. So tonight was going to be interesting to see exactly if Jacob was going to fall in line, because not only have the fans been voicing their concerns, some of the talent on air have been doing the same thing about WWE going back to the bloodline well. We already know that LA Knight is super pissed about that. So the fans are kind of echoing that a little bit, and, WWE now is essentially running this bloodline angle longer than WCW ran the NWO angle, and I think in WWE's mind, they for some reason think that if they go back to this, they're going to recapture that same success that they had in 2023 and 2024 with this stuff, and they're just not going to. So I think Triple H needs to fucking wake up sometimes. I still don't necessarily hate the bloodline. It's just a matter of them continuing to constantly go back to that. I don't hate the idea as a concept. I don't hate the angle. The bloodline, story a couple years ago was one of the coolest things we've seen in modern wrestling. So it's not that I necessarily hate it. It's just the creative laziness that I think, kind of gets under the fans' skin a little bit, because you could do more with this. But here we are again, right back to where we were a couple of years ago. Roman Reigns comes out with the Usos. He's the champ, high off of his big win last night. They call out Jacob Fatu, who comes to the ring. He says a few words. He even says, I didn't lose to your punk ass. I think he said that to Jimmy. So he's a little bit, still not willing to really do any obeying to the Usos. But he is a man of his word. He said so on the mic. He knelt down, he shook Roman's hand, and then he stood there with Roman and the Usos, and they all put up the ones. So the bloodline looks pretty united at the moment. Although they did leave in that little tease there that Jacob is still not too happy with the Usos, and if they are going to be a faction, if this is going to be a bloodline group, there's already tension right off the bat because Jacob is kind of a reluctant member of the group. He's only doing this because of the stipulation in the match. And then last night, as they were leaving, you see the MFTs. You see Solo, who's almost been positioned, who looked like he was being positioned as a potential opponent for Roman. And I'm like, oh, fuck me. Solo's not going to win the King of the Ring, is he? And face Roman Reigns. Luckily, he's not. He lost tonight, so he's already out. But that final image of the Usos, Roman, Jacob, then staring down the rest of the family that's standing at ringside. I'm like, oh my God, we're back to this again? So now we had to come out, have the big acknowledgement ceremony, and there was question, we talked about it last night, whether or not Jacob would even go through with this. He might snap, and I think he's still going. I don't know if this is going to be that much of a long-term alliance here. I still feel like Jacob is very on edge, very unpredictable, and could easily be swayed in the other direction at any moment during this. But at least for right now, he is with Roman Reigns. He is with the bloodline. Like I said, they all held up the ones and all left together. And as a matter of fact, later on, a couple of segments later, backstage, Roman tells Jay to level up because Jay is in the King of the Ring tournament. So he's telling Jay to win the tournament. He goes, there's two heads of the table, There's two ends, maybe he said. There's two ends of the table. So you need to take care of business, level up, win the King of the Ring, and then challenge for the other title. The problem is you're not supposed to be allowed to do that, right? You're supposed to have to challenge your champion on your respective brand. And if Jey Uso wins, he's going to have to challenge Roman unless they can pull some strings and some bloodline family member strings and they can get Jay over to SmackDown. Either way, I don't think Jay is winning the King of the Ring, so all of this is a cow's opinion. It's moo. But it's still weird that Roman said that to him because per the rules, you can't even do that, I don't think, correct? So that was basically how Raw opened up tonight. The Blood, David Brown, William Cullen, Chaz Medeiros, the semis. It's not just the finals, right? I don't even know. Held it and then the child was gone. Down, Solo Sikoa put him down with the fall from grace power bomb and won, and then got on the mic and said exactly what I said last night. When I was praising the match between Brock and Oba, saying, wow, they were actually able to beat Oba Femi without doing any damage to him that I could see. They protected him. He took 7 F5s. And one of the things that Brock had said in the pre-match build was that he can take an ass-kicking. I proved at WrestleMania that I can take an ass-kicking. The question is, can you take an ass-kicking, Oba Femi? Well, he did. He took that ass-kicking and, he got right up from it and turned around and won a big 4-way match tonight. And now he is advanced in the King of the Ring, and he gets on the mic and he tells Brock Lesnar that very thing, that, hey, you said you were wondering if I could take an ass-kicking, and I showed you that I could. So, Brock, you have won, I have won, I will see you down the road. So that really got my wheels turned. I'm like, well, shit, now Oba Femi is in King of the Ring. The only way he cannot win this tournament is if Brock Lesnar screws him. There's no way he can lose. He's going to face the winner of the 3 guys that Breaker is facing. So if it's Oba and Breaker, Brock could technically fly to Saudi Arabia to help out Breaker, who's also managed by Paul Heyman, and screw over Oba, leading to the SummerSlam match, because I feel like it's got to happen there. We've been hearing about this Brock possibly retiring at SummerSlam in Minnesota, so I don't feel like you could delay it, unless Oba were to win the King of the Ring, and then win the you could do it that way, Ryan. So I was thinking that maybe the Brock rubber match comes later after Oba's champion. but that wouldn't be in Minnesota because it would have to come later on in the fall. Maybe not. What if Oba beats Roman Reigns on night one and wins the title, and then is challenged by Brock Lesnar on night two for that very title, and that's the main event, and that's Brock Lesnar's last match. And Obafemi beats Brock Lesnar in the main event of night two for the championship, successfully defending the title that he won the night before. You know, that's asking a lot of Roman Reigns for him just to go to SummerSlam and get killed by this guy, and then, you know, the same guy's going to go kill Brock Lesnar the next night. But imagine that. You know, that's why I was pitching the idea of, or at least saying that it was okay if Oba won all three matches with Brock, because what a way to smash that dude over. Beats Brock all three, you know, and then goes on to win the title or whatever.
You can do this. You can be the first millennial in history to pick a trip on a device that is not their computer.
I do night one and then Brock on night two, or vice versa, retiring Brock on night one and then going on to win the title on night two. Either one of those would be fine with me and pretty damn fun. So we will see. But Oba now advances, and it's going to be really hard to get him out of this tournament unless, you know, Brock were to interfere. So I feel like we have two options. Oba now either wins the tournament or Brock costs him. There's no other way to get him out of this. You can't beat Oba again, you know, in a semifinal clean or in the finals, you know, and Rollins with a big win tonight. When I saw his name on the bracket, you know, he was the first one that stood out, you know, that maybe it would be Rollins winning, but now I'm not so sure. Rollins will probably not make it to the finals. I feel like it's got to be Oba. I just feel like it's got to be Oba winning the whole thing. But then if he does, how do you do the Brock match? Doing both matches seems likely. So we will see how all that shakes out. Please let me know your suggestions or your pitches, how that might go. By the way, I never put Oba's victory up. The same thing, and that is why I am still your world. This semifinals. Look at that match too, by the way. Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, and Chelsea Green. First of all, that's too much hotness for anybody to handle. Second of all, those are all pretty accomplished, you know, except for maybe Chelsea, who, you know, I would still love to see win the Queen of the Ring. That's to kind of, you know, get in Dom's head a little bit, so you figured this was all going to be happening. Color coordination is where the match is too obvious and predictable, and the women's field is weak as fuck. There's title shots on the line here.
Liv knows that would mean that Roman needs to be... Man, to play everything completely safe. It is way too safe. Clash in Italy was a good show. Nothing really of importance happened on Sunday night. We come into Monday, and I thought tonight's Monday Night Raw was largely a very good show. And it was largely a very good show because WWE gave the show some meaning. WWE gave the show the first of the Fatal 4-Ways in the first round of the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. Anytime you do something like that and surround your show with tournament matches, consequences for winning and losing, the show automatically takes on a different level of importance compared to a normal week. They also gave you a proper main event, which has been an anomaly on this show. It's been like a ghostly apparition. Sometimes they want to show themselves, and most of the time they don't. Most of the time this show ends with a Samoan going through a table, or Roman Reigns belittling his family, or Jacob Fatu running through one of his cringy catchphrases. All gas, no brakes, winning. Sure. Tonight we got a proper main event with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. Wink, wink, I think that's also going to be the final of the King of the Ring tournament, but you didn't hear that from me. You didn't hear that from me. Actually, you did. I've been saying Seth Rollins is going to win King of the Ring for many, many, many weeks now. I could be wrong, but I'm sticking with my intuitions on Seth Rollins winning the King of the Ring. Very good match between Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. I thought it was better than their last one-on-one match, which took place at Backlash. I thought this was great, with a great ending and a hot crowd. Everything was just clicking for them. And you can see that they're actually getting to a point where they are very good dance partners together. So Seth Rollins' influence is wearing off on Braun Breaker. The biggest thing that happened on tonight's show, outside the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments, which we will definitely dive into, we'll pull up the brackets again and kind of assess where we are after the outcomes of tonight's tournament matches, one for the women, one for the men. The biggest thing that happened on tonight's show was, once again, WWE management, WWE creative, I don't want to say belittled. I'm going to use the terminology that Michael Cole used last night at Clash in Italy. Neutered, domesticated Jacob Fatu. I mean, those words describing Jacob Fatu should be a cardinal sin, but WWE creative is fucking awful, so I'm not really surprised that they use that type of terminology to describe Jacob Fatu. The Bloodline story has absolutely died 1,000 deaths ever since WrestleMania 40. And I know a lot of people, somehow, some way, are still into this slop. Somewhere on the social webs, there's a fucking geek who's labeling this as cinema. This is anything but. The fact that WWE, we talked about this last night, was one of the biggest talking points that we made, because this is the way the show went off the air. One of the biggest things that WWE has done is continue to revolve their shows around family drama, family bloodline business. Roman beat CM Punk at WrestleMania, he got the band back together, and they're running the same storyline that Roman ran as WWE Champion for 1,300 plus days. I kind of figured Roman was going to win the championship if and only if they gave him more money and he agreed to more dates. Clearly, WWE looks at Roman Reigns as a cash cow. Clearly, Nick Khan and TKO management look at Roman Reigns as their biggest star. He's all over these shows. He's in more of a prominent position than Cody Rhodes is, and WWE has made no secret about that. They have let you know time and time and time again who the A player is on this show, and Cody is nothing more than a B-plus player by default. He is never going to be able to capture Roman Reigns' star power or Roman Reigns' aura. WWE gave Roman Reigns the World Heavyweight Championship, immediately thrusted him into a feud with Jacob Fatu, which gave us same old shit feeling. With everything else that we've seen with the Bloodline, WWE was running back the Bloodline story, literally scene for scene, with Jacob Fatu. He's the next of the Samoan dynasty that needs to now fall in line, acknowledge the tribal chief, and serve Roman Reigns. That's exactly what we got tonight. After losing Tribal Combat, Jacob Fatu now serves Roman Reigns. He acknowledged Roman Reigns. He even got on one knee and bowed to Roman Reigns. He then stood behind everybody after snickering with Jey Uso. He stood behind everybody. Everybody else is the twos, and we the ones, as the ones go in the air. I have let my feelings know about this Bloodline slop for, I would say, ever since we came out of WrestleMania. I've let my feelings known. I've made no bones about it. I've been very upfront with you guys. I can't fucking stand this shit. I think this shit is fucking awful. It lacks creative, it's safe, and WWE is pathetic, thinking that they're gonna try and rekindle the bloodline magic that existed when Sami Zayn was there. Folks, I don't know if you're that fucking stupid, or maybe you just are living in denial. I don't know. There are people out there that are so fucking stupid and blind to everything that they're watching that they think that something different is going to present itself in this bloodline storyline. Chat, you're watching the same thing that they put Sami Zayn through playing out with Jacob Fatu. The only difference is Jacob Fatu's not an honorary Uce. He's actually an Uce. They're gonna do the same fucking thing. And to top it off, the story here is, which presented itself at the end of Clash in Italy, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tola Tonga. They showed face at the end of Clash in Italy, looking at Jacob Fatu as he lost Tribal Combat to Roman Reigns. In the weeks leading up to Tribal Combat, Solo Sikoa has been mentioning that he thinks Jacob Fatu would be better off in the MFTs, back with Solo, instead of going with Roman. Now we have a situation where we're looking at the bloodline, Roman's bloodline, of Jimmy, Jay, and Jacob Fatu, now complete. And we're looking at Solo Sikoa, obviously -1, who he adds to the fray, maybe someone else in the family that we're not thinking of that may make their way over to WWE. Maybe they'll add Royce Keys. I don't give a shit who they fucking add. At the end of the day, you're looking at Roman's bloodline versus Solo's MFTs. Bro, if you're going to surround your television with a feud like that, this television show is dead in the fucking water. Nobody gives a flying fuck at all. What's gonna happen next, chat? Jacob Fatu is gonna get unruly, and he's gonna get out of line, and he's gonna start arguing with Jay. Tensions are gonna build, tensions are gonna boil over. It's the same fucking shit that you've watched for the last 5 years. Where's the difference in the storyline? Jimmy and Jay are back to serving Roman Reigns. Jay's the instigator. Jimmy's the one who's going to try and make peace and keep everybody's ego in check. Roman Reigns' character has been unchanged ever since he lost to Cody Rhodes. Now all of a sudden he comes out and he's revered as a fucking hero. Where's the difference in Roman's character? Why are you cheering him now but booing him then? What's the difference? Then you got Jacob Fatu, who's now a part of the Bloodline family led by Roman Reigns. Gee, man, I wonder what's going to happen. Is this going to be a way to break Jacob Fatu out of the Bloodline so that he turns babyface? Is he going to be the one to break free and realize that Roman's power and ego are way too much and he's abusing everything?
We saw that with Solo.
This is cinema to you.
Wait a minute.
Bro, you watched all of this transpire in a genuine, organic manner with Sami Zayn, who wasn't even in the family. He was an outsider that the family took in and trusted. Do you genuinely think you're going to play this same scenario out with Jacob Fatu and have it come close to anything Sami Zayn did when he stabbed Roman Reigns in the back with that steel chair several years ago at the Royal Rumble? The answer is no. The answer is fuck no.
Because I didn't want Solo.
So I need to ask again for all the people that are watching this cinema with a front row ticket. What is the end goal here? Is the end goal to break Jacob Fatu out as a babyface? Man, it looked like he was doing pretty fucking good to me as a babyface on his own. Did we need to domesticate one of WWE's pillars? Did we need to neuter one of WWE's pillars and belittle him to now fourth-rate Bloodline member, led by Roman Reigns? What's the next progression of the storyline? A Bloodline versus MFT's feud? Man, I'd love to see the people lining up to watch this fucking cinema. I want a fucking refund. Is the end goal here to turn Roman Reigns heel again? And maybe the Bloodline a heel faction? I don't know what the fuck they are. One week they want to be babyface, the next week they want to be fucking heel. Fans and crowds all over the place are cheering them like they're heroes and babyfaces, but that's not the way they act on a week-to-week basis. I don't know which way they want to swing. What you're watching is a company that has absolutely gone clueless. Maybe Triple H's ChatGPT membership and his free trial expired. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're too cheap to pay for a paid tier subscription to ChatGPT. I don't know. It's the only reason I can come up with for the fact that we're getting the same fucking storyline now, all these years later. Do you remember when Paul Heyman said we were in the third inning only? Bro, we've been in the third inning for 4 years now. I'm gonna need something to happen so that we can get through the third inning and onto the fourth. I need something to happen. How do you watch Monday Night Raw and you look at what they did to Jacob Fatu tonight and you find that to be interesting? What is so... I'd love to hear from somebody. What is so interesting? What captivated you about that opening to Monday Night Raw tonight where Jacob Fatu, who is looked at as a future piece of this company, legitimately got down on one knee and praised and bowed to Roman Reigns like he was some Roman emperor in fucking Italy, next to Julius Caesar? Does anybody have an answer for me? Or is half this fucking fan base too fucking stupid to see what they're being given and served on a weekly basis? It's fucking slop. You know Roman Reigns is not going to be at Night of Champions, right? They don't have an opponent lined up for him. After tonight, there's 3 weeks to go. You think Roman Reigns is going to be given a nothing opponent going into Night of Champions? I'm sure he'll be there. I'm sure he'll be overseas, as they're touring overseas right now. But Roman Reigns isn't going to have an opponent at Night of Champions, being that his championship is far more valuable now than Cody Rhodes. He's not going to be at Night of Champions in 3 weeks. You people need to wake the fuck up. The fact that Triple H has Sesame Streeted his way into another bloodline angle, the fact that Triple H is hanging his fucking sledgehammer on this family garbage to carry him into next year's WrestleMania, the fact that Triple H doesn't have the vision to take the WWE into the next fiscal year with something new talent, new storylines, something that we haven't seen before, is absolutely fucking... It's not only sad and pathetic, it's worrisome. Clearly Triple H's vision isn't doing a fucking thing to enhance the WWE product. Triple H has no vision. Triple H has gone blind. Whatever the fuck his vision was, died in NXT Black and Gold. And I'm starting to wonder if that was truly even his vision. This shit sucks. This is awful, awful television. God, I can't wait for CM Punk to get back. And I don't even know where he's going to land. If he's going to come back to Monday Night Raw or he's going to be placed on Friday Night SmackDown. I don't give a fuck where he goes. Get him back on television. Because if this is the shit that we're given on WWE TV, now that we got to see some of the Bloodline on Raw and Solo on SmackDown, and this leads to some weird civil war. Bro, CM Punk is legitimately the last fucking beacon of light that is going to be remotely close to a story that WWE has.
Why is CM Punk? How come he's not in the King of the Ring?
I mean, I don't know how people are looking at this and thinking this is good television. Triple H's vision is rehashing what worked then, and the fact that they can't get past what worked then. Do you people realize that they feel they could just run the same angle back and find as much success with it in 2026 as they did in 2024? Do you understand that? Do you realize that you're watching these people struggle to tell a story and they can't bring themselves to do anything different or tell us anything new, and that they need to resort to telling a story they've already told?
I think who credible Jacob
I'm floored that people are that stupid that they don't know that's exactly what's going on.
Whenever you want
It's
to build
shocking.
rock and moment, do it in Saudi Arabia.
This is a reason why these shows, at the end of all these PLEs, they feel lifeless. This is why after the end of these shows, you're left with nothing. Because they are still operating as if they are in the third inning. And they don't want to speed up the game. They're not listening to the new rules and the new way that baseball is. They're not working with the pitching clock. Man, these people want to stay in the third inning because they think staying in the third inning is going to mean more money for them, and people are going to eat this shit up. Bro, people are getting frustrated. People are leaving. People are disinterested. Nobody's watching the company, and nobody's watching these shows because of the same thing that you're giving us. People's attention spans aren't as fast as they were. They want instant satisfaction. You're not going to give them satisfaction with something that already had the ultimate payoff. There is no payoff to this. The ultimate payoff was Cody Rhodes. The ultimate payoff was the Bloodline ending. You can't go back and undo everything you did to give us another ultimate payoff and have it fall flat on its face. You've been given a payoff. You've been given a group that's been dominant for 5 years. You've been given a group that now has ended. Their reign of terror has ended. We move on to the next group. The only thing is, the next group is the same group that fucking died.
Well, the vision is dead. No one cares about
Now,
them.
all of a sudden, because they're good guys, it doesn't really mean much.
Well, the vision is a good dead. Nobody cares about them. The vision knows what them.
Shit is garbage.
The vision is dead.
Everything about the Bloodline is fucking garbage. Am I supposed to believe that Roman now is going to take Jacob Fatu to heights he's never seen before? With what? With what? He's now a henchman. He's now silenced. He's now neutered. He's now domesticated. He's going to be Jimmy's bitch. He's going to be Jay's bitch. He's going to cause carnage and chaos, and he's going to develop an attitude, and he's going to not want to be chained down anymore, and he's going to break free, and it's going to somehow result in this big moment. Brother, we've seen this with Sami Zayn already. Pardon me if I don't give a fuck about Jacob Fatu playing the role of Sami Zayn. We're going to talk about the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments as well. I thought both tournament matches were very good. The men tonight better than the women. Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. Proper main event on Raw tonight. I thought it was a very good main event with a great ending. And WWE tonight set up Sol Ruka's first championship match as newly crowned Intercontinental Champion. It's basically an open challenge without actually using the verbiage of open challenge. We're going to talk about that tonight and so much more right here on the Monday Night Raw Post Show. This is your Raw Post Show for June 1st, 2026. Tonight, we are sponsored. So, Jacob is eyeing Jay. Roman Reigns tells Jacob, hey, I'm over here. Meaning I'm the one that you need to look at and speak to. Jacob Fatu says, at Tribal Combat, I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew the consequences. I knew the repercussions. Hell, I knew what would happen if I walked out with that title last night. I knew what would happen if I had lost. Hell, I've been taking L's all my life. It ain't nothing new to me. Taking L's my whole life brought me here, standing right here in front of you right now. Speaking of a loss, last night, Clash in Italy, in front of the whole world, including my children. My children seeing their father being a man take a loss. He keeps his word. And last night I lost to my tribal chief. But I didn't lose to your punk ass, Jay. But let's keep it 100, Roman. I acknowledge you. He then takes a knee, bows to Roman Reigns, and Roman grabs Jacob by the hand and shakes his hand. Roman pulls him up and says, "You don't understand this right now, Jacob, but I love you." Jimmy Uso then says, "It's now on, Jacob. You're here now. And this is a message to everyone in that locker room, Us. This is a warning shot. They the twos, we the ones." Jacob Fatu fell in line behind all of them and put the ones up with Jimmy, Jay, and Roman. He walked directly behind them, and he put the ones up behind them as they walked up the aisleway away from the ring. I don't know where any of this goes. From the surface, this looks like they're running the Sami Zayn storyline just with Jacob Fatu. And that Jacob Fatu is going to go through the trials and tribulations and the hardships. All of this serving Roman Reigns and taking this shit from Jimmy and Jay to serve Roman and serve the Usos. Be belittled, take more L's, because he's going to be the guy that they're going to send to do all of their dirty work. And at one point, he's going to get upset enough to say, "You know what, enough is enough, I'm tired of this shit," to break away. That would mean that Roman needs to be a heel. Are we turning the bloodline heel? Because Jimmy's promo, Jimmy's line at the end of that, he basically said, "This is a message to everyone in the locker room, Us. This is a warning shot." Bro, that's not a babyface. That's a heel. Are they turning the bloodline heel? Because the only way that Jacob Fatu is eventually going to break away from Roman Reigns and have it mean anything is if Roman is a heel. And Jacob needs to be the babyface, leaving the heel faction. Be a babyface, breaking away from the heel's ego and power. Is that the storyline that they're telling? Is Jacob Fatu a mole? Is he really working for someone else? Is he working for Solo? Is he working for someone else in the family? He who shall not be named, because I don't even want to mention his name. I don't want to mention him coming back to television because, for all we know, he's never going to come back to television. Is he working with someone else in the family? Did he talk to somebody else in the family? To say, "You know what? Acknowledge Roman. Play his game." Is this leading to Roman and his opponent at WrestleMania? Are we looking at Roman and Dwayne? Are we looking at Roman and Rock? Are we seeing the beginning stages of that for WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia next year? The only way that any of this is going to mean anything is if that man gets back on television, and I don't really think that man is coming back to television anytime soon. So I don't really know what the big deal is here. I don't know what I don't know where this is going. I don't know what story they're trying to convey. I don't. WWE, they have Jacob Fatu in the same situation that we've seen Jimmy, Jay, and Sammy before him. How do they expect people to remain interested? And if they lost interest, how do they expect those people to regain interest? If you're telling them the same story over and over and over again. I just don't know how anybody can bring themselves to care. There's a lot of I don't give a shit about what we saw here in this opening segment. King of the Ring. First quarterfinal match. All the quarterfinal matches are fatal four-ways. We got Penta, Obafemi, Solo Sikoa, and Carmelo Hayes. Obafemi and Carmelo Hayes stand out as the two guys that will be the future of the company. The youth movement is alive and well. What WWE does with it, it's going to be up to them how both of these guys succeed. I thought this was a really good match. For the Fatal 4-Way gimmick, I thought this was a really good match. This only went 9 minutes, but I thought this was a really good match. Oba came out, and he got a massive reaction. Everybody else came out, they got their introductions, and Oba came out last. He got a massive reaction. He got to the ring, and he beat up all three guys as they charged at him. His theme music was still playing, and then he did his pose in the middle of the ring. The lights went out, and the spotlight came on Oba. I thought that was a little nice touch. A little different. A little nice touch. So, Penta and Carmelo battled in the ring. Oba was going at it with Solo. I love Penta and Carmelo's back and forth, and I'm watching them go back and forth, and I'm saying to myself, man, I wish this was a one-on-one match, which I'll get into in a second. So Oba's going with Solo on the outside, Penta and Carmelo in the ring. Oba made his way back in the ring, had a stare down with Tala Tonga, who's on the outside, who accompanied Solo Sikoa down to the ring. He gets into the ring, does Oba. He chokeslammed both Carmelo and Penta at the same time, and we go into a commercial break. We come back from the commercial break. Oba had everybody down. He lifted Hayes and Penta up for a chokeslam. Solo gave him a super kick right to the jaw. Hayes gave Oba a first 48. Oba charged at Penta and Hayes in the corner, but they moved and Oba ended up crashing shoulder first into the ring post. Oba looked great, taking some actual real-life offense from people who were a lot smaller than he was. See, it's not all that bad if you just slightly humanize the ruler. He doesn't need to look all dominant and just completely dominating. He looks good in there taking some offense, which is going to have to be a thing. So he goes right into the steel post. So he's taken out of it for a little bit. And Tala and Solo threw Oba into the ring post again. There's no DQ, so they can do whatever they want. Tala then kicked Oba over the ringside barricade by the timekeeper's area. Penta at the same time landed a running flip dive over the top rope onto Solo. Carmelo then did a flip dive. He overshot Penta, only grazed Penta on the way down with a tope con hilo. So he threw Penta back into the ring. They climbed to the top rope, or Carmelo climbed to the top rope. He was going for a big move. Penta moved as Carmelo dove off the top rope. He rolled through. Solo's in the ring. He clotheslined Hayes inside out. Penta kicked Solo. Solo hit Penta with a big lariat. Hayes ducked a Samoan spike from Solo and took him down. Penta then gave Hayes a Penta driver. Solo broke up the cover. All three guys were down and slow to get up, and there was this great shot of Oba, who is now emerging from the timekeeper's area, and there was a great camera shot of him in the distance looking at Tala Tonga. So he gets up like the fucking sea creature, rising from the depths. Oba stood and he eyed Tala Tonga. Oba took Tala Tonga down with a big clothesline. He smacked Hayes off the apron with a big chop to the chest. He gave Penta a big spine buster. Oba is running all over the place. He sped to ringside and slammed Tala Tonga onto the announce table. That big shot put throw. He threw Tala Tonga. Oba goes back into the ring after Solo. He gave Solo a big fall from grace, and he slammed Solo down. And that was basically all she wrote. 1, 2, 3. Oba pins Solo Sikoa and advances to the semifinals of the King of the Ring tournament. First of all, I'm not surprised that Oba advanced. I'm not surprised that Oba pinned Solo Sikoa. much better than pinning Carmelo Hayes. And Penta's the Intercontinental Championship. You don't want to beat him, being that he is basically holding the second most important title on the brand. Oba advances, which we're going to look at the brackets in a little bit. I said this last night on the Clash in Italy post-show. I do not like, because it's basically as formulaic as they come for Triple H, I do not like the Fatal 4-Ways in the opening round matches of the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. Now, this only went 9 minutes. This was explosive. It was quick. It was action-packed. And it ended up coming off really good. They did what they could with the 9 minutes that they were given, and it ended up being really good. That doesn't mean this is a concept I want to see continue. All because I don't like it and it ended up being good doesn't automatically make me wrong. A tournament with one-on-one matches is much more beneficial to the talent and much more fun for the fans. And it really gives an added level of prestige to the King of the Ring tournament that isn't really there and hasn't been there for quite some time. Tony Khan overuses the tournament concept, but you can't deny that when the Owen Hart Memorial Cup happens every year, that it feels a lot bigger than any other tournament during the calendar year. Because you have one-on-one matches that lead to consequences. Win, you advance. You lose, you go home. And you win the tournament, and you go to the biggest show of their calendar year, all in, to challenge for the AEW Men's World Title or the AEW Women's World Title. I would have much rather seen a Carmelo Hayes versus a Penta, or a Obafemi versus a Tola Tonga. WWE only gave us Fatal 4-Ways. And a lot of people, a lot of people don't really understand this. Well, why did they give us Fatal 4-Ways? They gave us Fatal 4-Ways because WWE's calendar is so overloaded with shows. There's no time to let anything breathe. There's not enough time to do a full-fledged 16-man tournament. So they take 16 men and bunch them up in 4 Fatal 4-Ways. We got done with WrestleMania, which was a 2-night event. We go right into Backlash 3 weeks later. From Backlash, we go into Saturday night's main event 3 weeks later. From Saturday night's main event, we go right into Clash in Italy, literally the following week. Now we have a whole month off. And WWE only has so much time before we get to Saudi Arabia and Night of Champions. The finals will be taking place at Night of Champions. They only have 4 weeks to get through all 4 of these, well, if you count the women, all 8 of these quarterfinal Fatal 4-Ways, and then we get to the semifinals, and then we get to the finals, which will take place at the next PLE. And then right out of Night of Champions, we go right into another Saturday night's main event at Madison Square Garden, and from that, 2 weeks later, we're already at SummerSlam. There are too many shows that do not allow the creative to breathe. There are too many shows where they feel the need to book big matches with no real stories progressing, with no real stories having a true payoff, with no real creative being allowed to just sit there and manifest and marinate, or basically have fun with. How great would this tournament be if we got this entire tournament, men's and women's, taking place over a couple of months? One-on-one matches between the best performers that the WWE has to offer, and then we get the best of the best competing for the shot at SummerSlam for the World Heavyweight Championship, or the WWE Championship. I'm not booking the show, though. And they're going to add more shows and sell more tickets, and they want to make more money, and everything else suffers because of their greed. That's the reason why. That doesn't mean I'm wrong. That doesn't mean because I want it the way that I want that I'm wrong. The way that I want it is the way that many people want it. The way that I want it is the best way for it. 100%. But they don't have time to do that. Which kind of, I don't want to say belittles the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring, but it makes it less important. It makes it less prestigious. because they have to rush through a fucking tournament because they got to get to the finals on June 29th at Night of Champions. Now we're going to look at the tournament here. I got the brackets pulled up. This is the same thing we saw from last night's stream when I covered Clash in Italy. Obafemi is in the semifinals. Obafemi will now go one-on-one with the winner of Dominic Mysterio, Braun Breaker, who lost to Seth Rollins tonight in the main event, Trick Williams, or Damian Priest. Now, the one I don't want to see win is Dominic Mysterio. That would be awful. A complete mismatch of Oba and Dominic Mysterio doesn't make a fun match. It makes it overly predictable. Oba, at the end of this match, he took the microphone and mentioned Brock Lesnar. He asked Brock Lesnar if he could take an ass whipping. He said after receiving a beatdown and taking 7 F5s, he's standing and winning. I took your best shot, Brock, and I'm still here, and I will be the king of the ring. Don't you forget, it was 1-1 now. I will see you down the line. Oba won this match because not only was he the right winner from the guys that they paired him up with, it was a nice bounce-back win over all of these guys after losing to Brock Lesnar. I genuinely think that Braun Breaker's going to get his win back after losing to Seth Rollins tonight on Monday Night Raw, and I think we're going to get Braun Breaker versus Obafemi. Trick Williams winning that match is not going to mean much because he's not beating Oba. Why would he beat Oba? I don't really understand why you're putting anybody in the ring with Oba and then having them beat Oba. Oba already lost to Brock. Oba's not going to eat another pinfall after already losing to Brock at Clash in Italy. Plus, you don't want to beat your United States champion, who a lot of people look at right now as the new face of SmackDown. Damian Priest is an easy choice because he's a former world champion. He's a larger guy that could match Obafemi, but that's also very predictable. I'm going with Braun Breaker, sticking with Braun Breaker, especially after Oba mentioned Brock Lesnar. I think we see Brock Lesnar show up, and I think we see Brock Lesnar fuck over Obafemi. At the request of Paul Heyman, who will have one of his guys in the semifinals advance to the finals. A Paul Heyman guy helping a Paul Heyman guy. Which will then get us Oba and Brock 3, wherever WWE wants to do it, whether it's Night of Champions or at Madison Square Garden. Or maybe we don't wait until Madison Square Garden, we just do it at SummerSlam and we do something a little bit unpredictable, a little bit fun. Going into Madison Square Garden, being that they'll probably need a bigger match to really offset that show taking place at Madison Square Garden for Saturday night's main event. I'm sticking with Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker versus Obafemi, a future WrestleMania match, a future WrestleMania clash. Braun Breaker's going to the finals. Now, there was a rumor going around that WWE removed Ricky Saints from this tournament. That WWE removed Tala Tonga from this tournament. As of tonight, they were still there. I don't know what they're doing, but as of tonight, on the broadcast, they are still in the graphics, so that's what I'm running with. I'm going with Seth Rollins regardless to win his block. I'm going with LA Knight to win his block. I think we're going to get Seth Rollins regardless of who it is in the finals of this tournament. I'm going Rollins and Breaker, and I think Seth Rollins is going to win this tournament and get the title match against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, because that was supposed to be the World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania, and they're going to run it back at SummerSlam. The original plans called for before Rollins got hurt. Rollins versus Reigns. Punk versus Cody. Those were the original plans for WrestleMania. This was obviously before Rollins got hurt. Seth Rollins is going to win the King of the Ring tournament. That's what I believe. And yes, I think he's going to have to go through Braun Breaker again. But JD, why is Braun Breaker going to lose to Seth Rollins tonight and then lose to Seth Rollins again at Night of Champions? Braun Breaker, chat, I'm not sure if you're aware. He is now going to take the role of a tag team specialist. He's not being booked as a singles anymore. He's now Austin Theory's tag team partner because Logan Paul is hurt. WWE, I don't know if they're going to replace Braun Breaker with Bronson Reed when he gets back, because Paul Heyman did say that there will be a revolving door of guys to fill in as Austin Theory's tag team partner. Who's to say that Braun Breaker can't be removed from that spot, go back to being a single when Bronson Reed comes back? There was also a rumor that WWE may be adding more members to the Vision, whoever that may be. We talked about this on Tuesday. Solomon Monster had a great idea about putting Grayson Waller in the Vision and getting Grayson Waller and Austin Theory back as a tag team. At least at that point, there'd be some conclusion as to why they split up in the first place. Being that the New Day's not there and Grayson Waller doesn't have Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston anymore to ride the coattails of, why don't they add him to the Vision and get the original tag team that they had that they did nothing with back together, at least doing something together, while leaving Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker to do their things individually? I don't know what their plans are, but right now he's a tag team specialist. And I think Braun Breaker is going to act as a tag team specialist, which means Seth Rollins is going to win the King of the Ring. That's my opinion. Why can't he be a hybrid? You know, Adrian, I ask that question all the time. I don't know. WWE seemingly thinks that when they're in a tag team, they can't break out and also be a singles wrestler. I don't get it. I don't really understand it. It's so fucking stupid to think that you got a singles guy acting as a tag team guy, but when he gets in a tag team element, he's only got to do tag team wrestling. He can't wrestle singles anymore. Like, I don't really understand that. He can also work singles matches while holding the tag team championship. The entire company's a fucking mess. I'm sticking with that. Clearly, they can go and give over the championship or the King of the Ring and then have him get the championship match against Roman Reigns. Clearly, that was something that fans wanted coming out of WrestleMania when Oba beat Brock. I don't think that they're going to do that. The clue is there within. He's already mentioned again Brock Lesnar. I'll see you down the line. I'm sure you will. And you're going to get a third match out of it because he's got to get his win back, which means he's not going to be challenging for a World Heavyweight Championship if Brock Lesnar is the plan for Obafemi and a third match is on the horizon. This is why I say we're going with Seth Rollins. All in all, this was a fun match. I wish it would have went longer. 9 minutes. King of the Ring matches should not be going 9 minutes. Sol Ruka. She made her way out to ringside. She's interviewed by Kathy Kelly. Sol Ruka's out there. As Kathy Kelly asked, did you ever think that less than a month after officially joining Monday Night Raw, that you would be standing here in the middle of the ring as Intercontinental Champion? So Kathy asks this question, Sol Ruka being revered by this Italian crowd.
It is disturbing. It's appalling and very disturbing.
Kathy, this has been a dream come true. I believe that I could be a champion, but most importantly, all of you believed in me
There
too.
is no vigilante justice. It's a cold-blooded
She
murder.
sounded a little like
And
Liv
shot
Morgan,
someone in the back. He wired
over
the city to kill a
accentuating
man
her words.
and lead all law enforcement to
So,
make
from the
sure
bottom of my heart,
the
thank you.
community.
And honestly, props to Becky Lynch. I know that she was against this match in the first place. I know she thought I wasn't ready, but
And seeing
she still
people
came out
saying that
here
murder is
and gave
justified.
me the
Murder
chance
is
to
never
test myself
justified.
against the
Never
very
was.
best, and I proved her wrong. And it's not just me saying it, everyone's saying it. But as tough as it was to beat Becky Lynch, my work here is just getting started. This title deserves a fighting champion. You all deserve a fighting champion, and that's exactly what I'm going to be. But if you think that I'm just some rookie, or if you underestimate me like Becky did, well, at this point, I think we all know how that's going to end. Your soul will be mine, and we will hear the exact words we heard last night. Sol Ruca, the Intercontinental Champion. She's got to work on her promo. She sounded a little bit too much like Liv Morgan for my liking. We don't need her to sound like Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan's not really a good promo in herself. But she's going to be a fighting champion. Why does every babyface that wins a championship, this is something. I am so over the typical this generation pro wrestling trope. Open challenges, baby faces having these title runs where I want to be a fighting champion. Motherfucker, you can be a fighting champion all you want, but being a fighting champion means that you have a low-level IQ. If you defend the championship against any comer and all comers, that means you have a greater probability of losing the championship and a greater probability of getting injured. Why do you want to risk all of that and be stupid to put the championship on the line against everybody, and people don't deserve a championship match? Why are you putting the championship on the line against people that don't deserve a championship match and have done nothing to earn one, just to prove to these dumb people that you are a fighting champion? This is the level of WWE creative. Instead of coming up with a solid story between one woman who wants the Intercontinental Championship and developing dialogue and maybe making competitive matches to a point where people actually earn a shot at Sol Ruca, we're going to line up the first babyface that we see because Sol Ruca wants to be a fighting champion.
He's shot in the back.
I find that to be boring! It's lazy! It's fucking lazy!
I won't tolerate this either, even though I'm retired, but I work closely with everyone here. Violence, to make your point, is never acceptable.
Becky Lynch is in the Queen of the Ring tournament. She's in Liv Morgan's Fatal 4-Way. I think Becky Lynch is going to advance to the semifinals, which we will talk about a little bit later as we go over tonight's Fatal 4-Way. Roman Reigns is in the back. They showed a clip of Roman Reigns running into Cody Rhodes after Clash in Italy, as Cody was either going to the post-show or coming back from the post-show. They stared at each other as Roman came out of his dressing room. No words were exchanged, and they just gave each other a very nasty stare. WWE made a purpose to show this clip on Monday Night Raw tonight. For what reason? Are we now going to include Cody Rhodes in the family bloodline drama? Is WWE already planting seeds for Crown Jewel in October, where Cody Rhodes will be the WWE champion and Roman Reigns will be the World Heavyweight champion? Because you know it's got to be champion versus champion for the elusive and prestigious Crown Jewel championships. So Roman Reigns is watching this in his dressing room on the TV that's there. I'll address Cody Rhodes. I'll see him later, he says. Roman tells Jay that he needs to stay on Jacob's ass because he's the only one that understands the tough love. And that's what Jacob needs to understand. Matter of fact, I'm going to need you to go win the King of the Ring tournament. I'm going to need you to win the other title, the WWE Championship. Go to SummerSlam, win the tournament, and take that title and bring it back to the family. Never forget that there are two ends of the table. Roman needs Jay to level up. Jimmy walks with Jay, and then Roman says, "Big Jimmy, I need you to stay with me. Jay needs to do this on his own." They made it seem like this match was coming up next. Where was Jay going that Jimmy needed to stay with Roman? What did Jay need to do that he needed to do on his own? Maybe he went to go drink some limoncello at the nearest establishment. I don't know.
the same words.
What did he need to do in this moment, on this night, that Jimmy couldn't follow?
She doesn't own a gun. She dangerous no one. But
I love me a good limoncello.
This way a tough nerve, honestly. Do you understand how...
Tag team match here, Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee against Ethan Page and the mighty Rusev. This was a fun tag team match. This went 12 minutes. This went longer than the King of the Ring quarterfinal match that we had earlier with Obafemi winning.
But there's no excuse for murder. Absolutely none.
Ethan Page has done excellent work since getting called up to the main roster. Dragon Lee, nice to see him back on the show. And Rey Mysterio, they're positioning him as the next in line to challenge Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. So we'll pick it up after the break here. And Rusev slams Dragon Lee down. We go into a commercial break. And we come back from the break. Rusev and Ethan Page had Dragon Lee in their part of the ring. He was in the wrong part of town. Dragon Lee ducked Rusev. He tumbled over the top rope to the floor. Dragon Lee crawled over the Rey Mysterio for the tag. Ethan Page yanked on his boot, pulled him back into his corner. Rusev tagged in, and he says, "Not today, not today." They're beating up on Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee eventually breaks free. He gets the hot tag to Rey Mysterio. Fans go crazy. Big move off the top rope to Ethan Page. Springboard body press for a 2 count on Ethan Page. He took a shot at Rusev. Rusev tried to go at Mysterio. Ethan then took another shot, and he eventually takes Rey down. Rusev tripped Rey up, running the ropes. Dragon Lee kicked Rusev. Ethan Page shoved Rey into Dragon Lee, and he tried to score a near fall on Rey Mysterio, only got a 2 count. Ethan then takes Rey Mysterio, who did the tilt-a-whirl, and he dragged him into a Boston Crab right in the middle of the ring. Dragon Lee breaks up the hold. Dragon Lee knocked Rusev out of the ring and then dove through the ropes and tackled Rusev. Rey kicked Ethan Page into a 619 position. He nails it. He then drops the big splash. 1, 2, 3, and Ethan Page is pinned by Rey Mysterio. This was good. This was good. But why did Ethan Page need to get the pin here, JD? Well, Rey Mysterio's already been confirmed as the next challenger for the Intercontinental Championship. So him beating Ethan Page makes that decision basically official, because Ethan Page wants the IC title as well. That ensures Ethan Page stays where he is in line. He's going to get his, don't worry. Now, when this match takes place, I don't know. Adam Page goes on about he needs to talk to people, he's making it happen, he's getting the contract doctored up, and he's going to make it happen. I'm assuming this is going to take place at Night of Champions. This is the only place for it to take place. So, I think that's the right place to do it. Night of Champions. You can't have a show called Night of Champions without the Intercontinental Champion defending his championship. And if you're going to do that match, it needs to take place there. So WWE is going to do whatever they can to stall on getting this match any earlier, and that's where they're going to do it. Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio win in 12 minutes. Backstage, like I said, Adam Pearce. He's talking to Penta. Pearce knows that Penta wants to put his IC title on the line against Rey Mysterio, and the WWE Universe also wants to see it. So he's going to make that match official. LA Knight. He interrupts Adam Pearce talking to Penta. LA Knight tells Pearce, "Don't go anywhere." He pokes fun at the Bloodline. LA Knight is upset at Pearce for making house calls to Roman Reigns' locker room.
We all know that healthcare perfect.
Knight asked Adam Pearce if he's feeling oozy. So not only is WWE bringing back the same storyline that the Bloodline did all these years, now with Jacob Fatu taking the place of Sami Zayn, now they got LA Knight using the term Usi. So we're also bringing Usi back, thinking that it's going to hit like it did when Sami Zayn made Jimmy and Jay break character and Roman break character. This company hasn't gotten a fucking clue. Did you laugh at LA Knight using Usi to Adam Pearce? I know I did. I rolled my eyes. It doesn't hit the same. Since Adam Pearce wants to run the clock back on the Bloodline, maybe we should get him an honorary Uzi shirt. LA Knight is basically telling you exactly what we're all thinking. Just throwing that out there. This is a low-key shoot by LA Knight. He's got to take his anger out on somebody. Maybe I should head to the merchandise stand and get you an Ufalapa, he says. Do they even sell them? Do they sell Ulafalas on WWE Shop? I wouldn't be surprised. LA Knight says that if Adam Pearce continues to do favors for the Bloodline, maybe Roman will bring him in as part of the family. Adam Pearce says that he was having a conversation with the World Heavyweight Champion ahead of a World Heavyweight Championship match, which is nobody's business besides me and Roman. LA Knight says that Adam Pearce is giving him energy that he's never given to Roman Reigns. If Pearce wants to bow up to Knight, he'll put him out of retirement just to put him out, or bring him out of retirement just to put him back in. So he says to Adam Pearce he wants to bring Adam Pearce out of retirement, beat him up, and then put him back into retirement. I don't think we need to see that. The bottom line is, it seems like the only person Adam Pearce wants to be World Heavyweight Champion is Roman Reigns. It's not Jacob Fatu, and it's certainly not LA Knight. Adam Pearce says that Jacob Fatu is a liability. And LA Knight is going to believe whatever LA Knight wants to believe. But here's the bottom line. LA Knight thinks Adam Pearce is playing favorites and that he wants to bring the Bloodline back together. That's not the case. I'm trying to keep family blood in line. LA Knight makes Adam Pearce throw the one up in the sky because he's waving his finger around at LA Knight. So LA Knight stops him and says, what? And then he takes Adam Pearce's hand and makes him make the one. LA Knight says Adam Pearce makes him sick. And he walks away. Again, I don't know where this really goes. I don't have a clear direction for LA Knight after this promo. I know he's in the King of the Ring. I know he's in there with Finn Balor. Who is he in there with? He's in there with, let's see the bracket. He's in there with Royce Keys, Jey Uso, and Finn Balor, who, by the way, was traded to SmackDown. Yes, Finn Balor was traded to SmackDown, and we don't know for whom he was traded. But another WWE storyline that seemingly WWE dropped. Remember when Finn Balor was trying to convince Roxanne Perez that Liv Morgan was bad news and that Liv Morgan only cares for Liv Morgan and cares for nobody else? Yeah, they dropped yet another Judgment Day angle. I'm trying to look at it in a positive way. I don't think Roxanne Perez needs Finn Balor, but moving Finn Balor away from the Judgment Day vortex is probably best for Finn Balor. Speaking of the Judgment Day, Io Sky, Roxanne Perez, Julia, and Lash Legend. Quarterfinal, first round match in the Queen of the Ring tournament. Roxanne, Io, Julia got a great reaction in Italy. This is the most animated and charismatic I've seen Julia. Julia was genuinely happy to be where she was. And she looks great. I love Julia with the new hairstyle. I don't know if you guys noticed, Julia straightened her hair and no more braids in Julia's hair. I thought she looked great. This was the best presentation that I've seen of Julia so far in the WWE on the main roster. And then we had Lashley, who I don't think anybody here cares for. Now, Out of all these names, I know people were heartfelt on Julia winning this because it was Italy. I know you guys mean well, and I know you guys want the best, but Julia was never pegged to win this match. Julia was never advancing in the Queen of the Ring tournament. She was merely used as a hometown pop. That was basically it. I'm just glad that WWE creative realized that Julia is half Italian and put her on the show that they had in Turin, Italy, today. This was good. I mean, this was nothing special, but this was good. I really wish they would have pinned somebody else here, but this is WWE after all. Julia was caught by Lash Legend. Sky hits a dropkick, took her down. Perez takes Sky from behind and beats her up from behind with punches. Io got sent out of the ring by Roxanne. Lash Legend comes back in, took her out. Julia, she applies a guillotine on Lash Legend, and she was placed on the top turnbuckle. So Legend held Sky and Perez, but a dropkick from the top rope by Julia took everybody down, and we go into a commercial break with the hometown favorite in Julia in control. We come back from the commercial. Julia and Roxanne Perez drive Lash Legend into the steel steps on the outside. And we had Julia hitting a drop kick on Lash Legend. Perez and Julia, they had a very small, brief, momentary alliance. But Roxanne, she takes over here and says, fuck that. In the ring, Roxanne hits a shotgun, or was hit with a shotgun drop kick by Io. And Io starts to pick up the pace here. Another drop kick from Io as Julia joined in. Double missile drop kick by Io. That was followed by her Io pointing of the fingers. Roxanne Perez and Julia, they were in the corner as Io hit Bullet Train on both of them. Lash Legend, who was on the outside, comes back in. She got hit with a double stomp from Io. The Arrivederci knee by Julia to Lash Legend. Roxanne Perez broke up the count as Julia went. On the other side of that, we got Sol Ruca, Lyra Valkyria, who apparently they put those two women in an Intercontinental Championship match. For what reason, I don't know, when they're in the same fatal four-way to see who advances in the Queen of the Ring tournament. Sol Ruca, Lyra, Charlotte Flair, and Jade Cargill. I'm going with Charlotte Flair. I think Charlotte Flair wins this, and I think we get Becky and Charlotte. Now you're going to be looking at Becky, Charlotte, Io, and JC Jane. This creates a very interesting situation. Because if you look at the SmackDown side of things, as far as where they're going with the storyline, you could be looking at Charlotte versus Jade at SummerSlam. That's where they could be going. Do they do Charlotte versus Rhea at SummerSlam? I wouldn't mind that, being that they have one of the greatest women's matches in WWE history at WrestleMania a few years ago. But if you do that, where does that leave Jade? Where does that leave Jade on SummerSlam? So this is what I'm proposing. Instead of doing Rhea and Charlotte, I think we do Becky versus Charlotte, Io versus JC. I think we go Charlotte versus Io, or Becky versus Io. I think with the situation that we're seeing right now develop, I think we get Becky advancing to the finals, and I think we get Becky, who's a heel, against Io as a babyface. And I think Io wins the Queen of the Ring tournament, and I think we get Io doing whatever you want to do. I mean, she can challenge. I don't know what it is. Is it a situation? This is where I'm going to need your guys' help, because I'm thinking Fantasyland. I'm stuck on Io versus Rhea. Now, the winner of the tournament gets a shot at your brand's world championship, or is it a championship match of your choosing? Because he is as good as dead. It's a dead faction. It doesn't mean is upset about losing her Queen of the Ring first round match. Liv joins the conversation. Liv says that she got her head fitted for the crown. It's going to look so good on her. Raquel tells Liv, read the room. Roxanne is very upset about losing, and Liv couldn't give a single shit. Liv knows it's been a rough couple of weeks, but they're still family, and that's what matters most. Well, Roxanne says, hey, you know, I could have had my family out there to help me. But what's Liv's plan? Liv says the Judgment Day doesn't pout when they miss opportunities, they take opportunities. Liv says that her and Daddy Dom, or Raquel Rodriguez, are going to win both tournaments because the Judgment Day runs Monday Night Raw. Liv tells Roxanne not to be upset because Liv is very proud of Roxanne Perez.
Judgment Day hasn't been the same since they turned on Rhea.
Bro, the Judgment Day is as good as dead. It's a dead faction. It doesn't mean shit anymore. I don't know what WWE's got to do to resuscitate or heat up the Judgment Day faction. The whole thing about Roxanne is going to eventually play out where she sees Liv Morgan is all about Liv Morgan. And Roxanne Perez this is the story that I hope that they tell. Roxanne Perez will eventually go on to win Money in the Bank, and she will cast that doubt over Liv Morgan, who has the Money in the Bank briefcase. And she will become the new Women's World Champion. I could see that taking place. Now, it all depends on if they take the belt off of Liv Morgan and put it on Io. They could easily go Io Rhea at Crown Jewel. They could go Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley at Crown Jewel. I don't know where they go, but I think Roxanne Perez winning the Money in the Bank is a great start for Roxanne Perez distancing herself from the Judgment Day. You Roxy fanatics out there, you got a couple of months to wait on that. But I think that's the best course of action here. But the Judgment Day is as dead as anything. It's a lifeless faction. And Dominic Mysterio has done nothing in the time that he's won the AAA Mega Championship. He's taken such a backseat role on the show after being featured all over the place. Dominic Mysterio means nothing to the Judgment Day or to Monday Night Raw. At all. Main event. Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. This was a great main event, and I'm just glad we got a proper main event here. This went 22 minutes. Bro, this got 10 minutes more than Cody Rhodes and Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE Championship, to open Clash in Italy. Can anybody please tell me why Gunther and Cody only got 12 minutes? Jade and Rhea got 18 minutes. This got 22 minutes. Rollins and Breaker got 22 minutes. I don't think this company knows what they do on a day-to-day basis. Seth Rollins was incredibly over here. I mean, the fans, they did not let up fucking singing along to Seth Rollins' theme song. Braun Breaker took control very early here, released German suplex. Seth ducked Braun Breaker as he charged in, clotheslined him over the top rope. Suicide dive through the ropes. Rollins has a terrible looking suicide dive. There's legitimately no impact at all. It's like a Jon Moxley suicide dive, a WWE Jon Moxley suicide dive. It's awful. Seth Rollins should just eliminate the suicide dive from his arsenal. It's awful. There's no impact on it whatsoever. People just do it because it looks cool. Meanwhile, it doesn't really... If you take it away from the match, nobody will even notice. It makes zero difference to the overall match quality. He did it again. He knocked Breaker down a second time. Breaker came back. He tossed Seth over the barricade. And they cut to a break here with Italy barking at Braun Breaker. For all your support, man, we're going to get into the super chats here in just a moment. Breaker then got in the ring and speared Seth for a 2 count. Seth kicked Breaker. Breaker charged at him. Seth landed a stomp. Seth tried to roll out of the ring, but Heyman put Breaker's boot under the bottom rope to break the count. Heyman then pointed that out to the referee. Seth eyed Heyman. Heyman started smiling like a dick at Seth Rollins. Seth got angry. He went out to ringside. He tried to confront Paul Heyman, who kept talking shit to Seth Rollins. Heyman told Seth he had no respect for him over and over again. Breakker charged at Seth. He did that big running spear on the outside, but the thing is, Seth moved, and Braun, you know he's coming for Roman. Roman right now doesn't have any top challengers. Seth is the next in line. I thought this was a very good episode of Monday Night Raw. I thought they made the show feel important with the King and Queen of the Ring. I thought the main event, we got a proper main event. That's a positive. 22 minutes. Felt like a main event. Came off like a main event. We had a crowd worthy of a main event. We got a proper main event. And not some fucking stupid closing segment with a contract signing or a Samoan going through a table or some fucking bloodline drama. We got a main event that set up Seth Rollins to procure his way into the King of the Ring final. And I think we will see these two meet again in Saudi Arabia at Night of Champions. And Monday Night Raw with the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring was given a little bit more of an important feel because there were consequences. You lose, you go home. You win, you advance. I'm not a fan of the pasta and pizza, if that's your thing. If not, understandable.
At Citizens Private Bank, we believe your attention is best spent on your passions. That's why
barbecue and cook for my family and my neighbors and everything. Yeah, maybe I would spend a couple of G's on that, but not for that. Not for that, man. And there's some people in the chat room that agree with what I just said. So, Monday Night Raw today. You know, this was very upsetting for me. All right.
Probably being bounced with some but those are the reports coming in from Italy. There was no earthquake tonight where they were for Raw, although there were parts of the show, I will say, where the hard camera was shaking, especially when Rey Mysterio was out there. It kind of felt like there was an earthquake if you were watching it, the way the camera was shaking. I don't think it was an earthquake. Who knows? Who knows? But this was the fallout to Clash in Italy last night. We were here talking about that show 24 hours ago. And so this was the follow-up to that. The big follow-up was Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns. They had a match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Roman beat him, and so by virtue of that loss, Jacob Fatu would have to man up, be a man of his word, and he would have to acknowledge Roman Reigns as his tribal chief. It seems like most of these shows are built around something of an acknowledgement ceremony or it just there's a sameness to it all. So Roman wanted to be acknowledged, and he got acknowledged. And for the time being, it appears that Jacob Fatu has fallen in line. And we now have Bloodline 2.0. We now have the official sequel. Now, see, there's been other, like, offshoots of the Bloodline. We have Temu Bloodline over on SmackDown. But if you really just kind of consider the Bloodline as, like, that one faction, the one that, you know, had Sami Zayn in there and the Usos and Solo Sikoa, now we have the official 2.0 version. And I can only hope, we should all be so lucky, that the sequel is better than the original. See, it doesn't happen that way very often. Some people would say that that's the case for The Godfather. I would argue that that's the case for some films. Actually, I happen to be a big fan of Back to the Future Part 2. Whether or not you think Part 2 is better than Part 1, it's a subjective thing. Part 2 is the one that had the hoverboard, right? I gotta go Part 2. But it's not something that happens very often. And look, we knew that this was going to be the case. They love the Bloodline. They love it. They love it. It's their bread and butter. I'm sure TKO loves it. I mean, there's been talk about, you know, Ari Emanuel and TKO and all of them. I mean, they're fully behind this, right? They're fully behind Roman Reigns, the World Heavyweight Champion. They're behind the Bloodline. They want more of it. So we're going to get more of it. And my only hope is that Jacob Fatu was done no favors by dropping 2 straight to Roman Reigns on 2 different PLEs in the same month. And not only did he lose 2 straight and couldn't back up all that talk, right, on TV, but now he's bending the knee and he's throwing up the ones and he's standing there in the background and he looks like a sad little puppy dog in the background following these guys around, and you can kind of look at it and go, okay, the longer term vision here is that in the end, Jacob Fatu will break free and maybe he'll take a leadership position and maybe that's 6 months or a year down the road. We don't know. But for the time being, he's actually in a weaker position than he was coming into it. And if you're a fan of his, then you just hope that, they're playing the long game. Fine. Hopefully at the end of all this, he'll come out better for it on the other side. But right now, it just feels like more of the same. We also had Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker in the main event. This was a rematch from their first match at Backlash, which Braun Breaker won. Seth Rollins got his win back tonight. This surprised me just because they are both in the King of the Ring tournament, and I had them tabbed to be the likely final of the King of the Ring, and I still do, by the way. Tonight's match changes nothing, because now they're 1 win apiece. Braun Breaker beat him the first time. Seth Rollins picked up the win here in this match, which I would argue was probably even better than their last match. They went over 20 minutes. They had a hell of a main event. It was the best thing on the entire show. They had a hell of a match. And when it was over, Seth Rollins came out the winner. So, them meeting in the finals of the King of the Ring still kind of works because they're 1 win apiece, and so that could basically end up being the de facto rubber match between them. But that was one of the highlights of the show, was their match. Paul Heyman looks like he's going to be going away for a while because Paul Heyman took a bump, which doesn't happen very often. But he took a bump. He got speared through the timekeeper's barricade, as so many before him have. This time it was Paul Heyman who went through, and I would not expect to see him back on TV next week. Okay, let's put it that way. I think we could keep Paul Heyman on TV for at least a few weeks to sell the effects of the spear. And then we have the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments, and it would appear that one hand does not know what the other hand is doing when it comes to this company. And the reason I say this, there's a lot of reasons that you could point to, but the reason I say this is because earlier today, WWE posted an updated King of the Ring bracket on their website. At first I thought maybe it was something that was just going around on social media that somebody fabricated and somebody fell for it. But then I saw the update from Mike Johnson, a PW Insider, who had gotten the information, I guess, directly off of WWE.com, so he himself ended up having to post a retraction later on. But on WWE.com, they posted an updated bracket that took out Ricky Saints and Tala Tonga. And in their place, and you could argue that this actually improved the tournament, they were replaced by Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre in separate matches on that side of the bracket. So we had Royce Keys in that bracket, was also moved to a completely different match. He was moved into the Seth Rollins 4-way with Javon Evans and Sami Zayn. And then Drew McIntyre was in the 4-way with Finn Balor, LA Knight, and Jey Uso. And I saw this and I'm like, well, they already announced this other bracket, and it's not even 24 hours later, and now all of a sudden they're making changes. Like, these people don't know what the fuck they're doing. So, again, it wasn't a fake graphic. It was something that they posted on their website, and then they pulled it, and they put the old one back up. And the old one is what you saw on the air tonight when they showed the graphic on Monday Night Raw. So there was all this confusion around, well, which one is real and which one is not, and was it fake, or did they change their minds, and what the hell's going on here? Drew McIntyre hasn't even been on television since WrestleMania. Did they just spoil Drew McIntyre's return? Is somebody going to get bumped from their spot in the King of the Ring, and he's going to be the big surprise to replace them? We don't know. But this comes after Joe Tessitore on the Clash in Italy post-show last night announced Obafemi against Penta as a singles match in the King of the Ring tournament. He thought it was a singles match. And to be fair, so did I. Because at first glance, when they put the bracket up, I thought I was looking at a series of singles matches. And I was like, wow, look at this. They expanded the bracket this time. We're not going with multi-man matches. We're actually going to get a bunch of singles matches. And my first thought was, why would you do Obafemi against Penta? That was my second thought. So anyway, he made the same mistake that I made. The only difference is, I'm not the one on TV on their own show. So apparently he announced it as a singles match and had to walk it back, and then he realized it was a four-way match and not a singles match, so the whole thing is a fucking mess. So anyway, with all of that out of the way, let me bring up the Queen of the Ring bracket and just show you where things are in terms of who goes where in this thing. What we saw tonight on this show, we had one women's one women's first round match, which was the one that you see there in the upper right hand corner. It was Roxanne Perez, Io Sky, Julia here in Italy, and Lash Legend. Io Sky is moving on to the next round of the tournament, which makes me very happy because she would have been my pick to win that anyway. And so we had that on the women's side. Now, nothing has changed in terms of this bracket. I don't think WWE posted an updated women's bracket, so this one is still accurate. The Liv Morgan match you see in the upper left-hand corner, and yes, it is very bizarre that Liv Morgan is in this tournament, although it seems likely to me that she's going to end up probably being bounced with some interference, I would think, from a returning Stephanie Vicaire. Even if that's what ends up happening here, and I'm sure it will, it still feels like a wasted spot. That match, though, is going to be taking place on Raw in SmackDown brand. That comes from Byron Saxton during one of the thing you need to do it every month, but we should have more of this. You know, we should show an event was very good. The men's King of the Ring, so I appreciate it. That's it. The rest, beat him. Yeah, that would be an all-time dumb booking decision, is what that would be. Anyway, thank you, brother.
Might want to stop the video.
Fit Wrestling Podcast. Thank you for the $15. The Fatu is already late. His first night, and he's late for the ceremony. So that's people who are not joining us. So I appreciate all the. Let's talk about like the. Roman then took Fatu's hand. He pulled him up. He said that you might not understand this right now, but I love you. And Jimmy says that Fatu is with them now, and they're the ones, and so the four of them threw up the ones into the air, and I had flashbacks to 3 years ago on SmackDown. I feel like I'm kind of going backwards instead of going forwards. So we officially have Bloodline 2.0. There it is. This is like the new age. We were joking about this. What was it, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago? Back in the day, if you would just add 2,000 onto something, it was supposed to make it sound so much cooler. NWO 2000. Now we have Bloodline 2000. Amazing. The only difference is that Jacob Fatu now is in there in place of Solo Sikoa. Which, to be fair, I mean, that could end up being kind of like a Horseman deal, where the Horsemen used to have Oli, but then they upgraded when they added Barry Windham. I would say this is a bit of an upgrade over, you know, the previous version. Unless you count Sami Zayn. You throw Sami in there, that's still the peak version of the Bloodline. But the problem is, again, in my opinion, that they even felt the need to run this back in the first place. I'm trying to be optimistic as I look at this, and I'm hopeful that the end result of this will be Jacob and the Usos eventually turning on Roman Reigns. I point out very often that Roman hasn't changed at all. Roman has basically just, like, if you watch him and listen to him, and he's smirking and talking all kinds of shit, he's basically, I say reverted, but I don't think he ever really changed. It's the Roman Reigns of a few years ago when he was having that long, dominant title run. It's the same fucking guy. And so at some point, you would hope that somebody puts him in his place. I know the fans right now are cheering him. Now, again, they're in Italy. And so, you know, he's got roots in Italy. He was always going to get wildly cheered in Italy. Realistically, he was going to get wildly cheered probably anywhere. Does that start to wear off? Like, if he is basically mistreating Jacob Fatu, and they sell it like you want to have sympathy for Fatu because he feels like this is family honor and he's got to just fall in line and people start feeling sorry for him, does the crowd reaction begin to turn against Roman? I don't know. I feel like Roman is kind of he's kind of in that category now where you would have to really work very hard, I think, to get these crowds to boo him or to root against him. It's possible. You can do it, but it's not going to be easy. You know, he's kind of crossed over into that realm where just people don't want to boo him. You know, they think he's cool, he's got a certain aura to him, and that's just the way it is. But yet he's still a total dick when he's out there. So you would hope at some point Jacob kind of wakes up and snaps out of it and says, yeah, I'm not taking this shit no more. And then on the other side of this, he'll come out a bigger name for it. Maybe he will take a leadership position in the Bloodline. Because again, the Bloodline is going to keep looping forever. The Bloodline will still continue to loop and loop and loop long after Roman is no longer the tribal chief. Like, they've hitched their wagon to the Bloodline. It's not going anywhere. That's my hope. You know, when we get to that point, hopefully that's how it ends up for Jacob, and he'll end up at a level above where he is right now, which should be the goal. You know, to kind of elevate him in the eyes of the fans to that next level. They didn't do that last month. They put him in there twice against the world champion. He talked all kinds of shit. He came up with a brand new finishing move that he still has yet to win a single match with, and he fucking lost both times. It doesn't get any worse than that. It's almost like we have to beat him down with the idea that we're just, at that point, once we've beaten him down to where he can't get any lower, now we're going to try to build him back up. And for his sake, I hope they can. In the meantime, though, we have to watch the Bloodline story play out yet again, all over again. And so it could be a while before we get there. I enjoyed the character development with the original Bloodline. You know, all the members the first time around. Maybe they could try to, you know, recapture some of that here the second time around, but I don't know. Like, I just point to the Usos and just how lazy this all is. Because we see Jimmy and Jay right now, and all they've done with those two is they've completely just reverted back to the way they used to be. You know, they were very subservient to Roman. It's all about family honor and family pride, and he's the tribal chief, and you have to acknowledge, and blah, blah, blah. But then eventually, you know, they kind of found their balls, and they grew a set, so to speak. And they found their independence. But now they've just gone back to the exact same positions that they were in previously. And there really was no explanation for it. I guess other than this idea that, well, we're stronger when we're united. I can remember a time where Jey Uso confronted Roman Reigns backstage. Was it last year? Maybe the year before. I don't know. I think it was last year. And this is when Roman was not apologizing necessarily for how he treated Jey, but he was kind of trying to get the band back together. And do you remember when Jey Uso said to him, like, from now on, we're equals. If this is going to work, you and me, we're like this, on the same level. We're equals. Whatever happened to that? I don't know. It seems to have just been forgotten about. I guess Jey is comfortable no longer being equals, because he sure doesn't come off as an equal to Roman Reigns. It's just stuff like that that annoys me. You know, people will talk about, oh, it's cinema, it's this, it's that. Yeah, well, it's terrible cinema.
Oh, wait. Well, might as well stop the video. Hold on a second. Okay. Well, hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. Until next time, I will see y'all later. I might as well just stop the video. Hold on a second.
They've taken steps to establish that Royce Keys and Jacob Fatu are tight. It's entirely possible. Royce Keys could end up on that other side with the MFT. I really hope not, though. But we got our first Fatal 4-Way. Opening round match in the King of the Ring tournament with Obafemi, the Intercontinental Champion Penta, Solo Sikoa, and Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah, I'm going to stop the video. Until then, I'll see y'all later. I will make more videos of basketball, NBA 2K26, and I will play Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I'll make sure I upload those, and I'll see y'all later.